Hey, family, welcome back to First Frequency of Oneness Shock Metaphysics. Yep, it's the ball wonder himself. It's late night. Yeah, coming to you at night, wherever you are, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it's a special night because we wanted to bring back our beloved scholar to talk about this crazy holiday and holiday season. And so, hey, I am Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock Matthews, aka the Metaphysical Morpheus, and this is uh, Kicked Out of Heaven Christmas with none other than Keenan Booker. What's going on, bro?
What's going on with you, my man? We're back for another one. We had to do it. It was very I'm glad you wanted to go down this route. Of course, there's many things to review in the Kicked Out of Heaven series, which is half off right now. So y'all go to kickedoutotheaven.com and get it. It's only $61 total. It comes to you. If you're outside of the country, do not purchase. Okay. So yeah, you can only purchase the ebook if you're in United Kingdom or something of that nature. So yeah, I definitely wanted to bring this to the forefront. A lot of people don't know anything about old Krampus and the ritualistic practices that has designed Christmas as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
The Krampus is held in a parade type scenario, and in America, they don't. They only, from what I've seen, they only have the Krampus parade in Philly and also in New Orleans. Okay,
Okay.
right, and but and it's not as direct and loud and in your face as we see on the what's going on in Europe. That's Austria, Slovakia, Germany, Italy. It's a lot of different places, and I'm going to be able to show you all that right now with a video, and then we'll be going into the PowerPoint on
Fantastic.
some of the details of what's directly in the literature that's in the third volume. That's where all the holidays are located. Okay, so
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, well, let's get it on and pop it. What do we got? What
okay,
do we got first?
okay. Let me see here.
Shout out to
Uh,
Francis Burton coming on. Wendy Juliet, I see you out there, beloved goddess. Thank you for coming in. Akil is back with us. What's going on, brother Akil? Tanya Lewis is with me. Well, that's fantastic. I got the whole family out here coming in late night, getting ready to
okay,
get our Xmas on.
okay. Do you got that on your screen?
All right, hold on. Let me put it up there. There we go.
Okay. So I'm ready to press play. You ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
What are they wearing? What the hell? This is cray cray. Wow. Look at that Christmas. Man, I don't know how you find this stuff. I really don't. Unbelievable. Well, you would think this is Halloween, not even, I mean, but this is devil worship. What is this? What are they doing over here? Unbelievable. Yeah, exactly. Jay Thompson said, WTF. Exactly. Feel the, I feel the same way. Like, what just happened here? Who are these people? Wow. Akil said, I can't watch this and sleep tonight. He said, Chantel says, what is this I just joined? This is what we are getting ready to find out, my beloved, of what is why second frequency Amu has been kicked out of heaven. And this is the man Keenan Booker, but this is their celebration. So this is called Krampus. parade?
Let me pause it real quick. This is the Krampus parade, okay? And what you just saw is one I think that's in Austria. I'll be showing you others in different locations throughout the course. This video is only 5 minutes, and then at the end, there's a cartoon of the whole Krampus thing. So you're supposed to pay attention a little bit when he said the birch. Okay, did you hear that
Well, we
part?
can't hear it. It wasn't no sound. There was no sound.
You
Or the
can't hear
sound was
anything?
too low. No, no.
Okay, let me try
So
to
we were
turn up
just,
this.
it was just viewing.
I don't know why the sound isn't playing, but the sound should definitely be on. It's on this side. Um, I don't know, but
Try again.
let's
Try again
yeah,
because it's too low to even perceive if it's in. Let me know, family, if you hear any sound.
yeah, because all my sounds are up to 100, and I can hear the video fine. So we should have tested this before it came on, but okay. Let me play the rest of this.
If
If you
not,
could,
if you can't hear it, then just fast forward to the cartoon and maybe we can watch that, and then you can get in deeper into your presentation.
oh, okay. Well, it's only 5 minutes, so I wanted y'all to see this because it goes on all across the whole country. Can you hear it now? Can everybody else hear it?
No. Yeah,
You
no
can't
sound
hear
on
that?
this end.
All right.
Nobody's. Yeah, no sound.
Okay. You see the long animal tongue right there?
What the
I'll talk to
hell?
you. The little babies that the witch carries. It's the witch and Krampus. Okay. And Krampus is also wearing Santa Claus clothes, which comes from Sinterklaas, and which also comes from Saint Nick. Saint Nicholas's feast day is December 6th. The Krampus parade occurs on December 5th. Okay. Which is the day before. You see how many of them they got out here? This is in Germany. The origin
Wow.
of the BBL. You see that? You saw that? Did you see that?
Wow.
That's the origin of the BBL right there. You see that?
Stupid.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
You see? The origin of the BBL.
you
Our
ain't got
ladies
no
don't know
sense,
nothing
man.
about it. You see, they don't
Something's
know
wrong
nothing
with you,
about it.
Keenan.
You have to know where these things come from. You understand?
You're so stupid.
Yeah.
What is, man? What is this? This is absolutely insane.
Hey, this is why I need y'all to see this real quick. This is important towards the whole thing that we're about to go through right now. So, when paying attention to the horns that they carry, that they're wearing, are actually ibex goats. And the ibex goat is the ancient horn that the Jews used to use, called the shofar. They would cut it
Mm-hmm.
off and then hollow it out, and then that would be the horn that they use. Especially these large horns right here, like this guy right here in the front. Let me
Mm-hmm.
wave my mouse over. This one right here. Those are
Mm-hmm.
ibex. Those are ibex,
Gotcha.
which is also close to the word apex for apex hunter.
Aha.
Okay. Right. This is in Austria, as you see up top right here. So I got to show you the different locations to let you know this is going on all across Europe. And that's part of the reason why I wrote the Kicked Out of Heaven, was because all our life, yeah, those are ibex horns that they got on their head. So all our life we've been told, oh, they're not all the same, blah, 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 blah. They're doing the same rituals in every single country across the whole gamut. Okay.
Wow. They are on code.
Right. It's one thing.
Fascinating. I mean, this just looks like something out of, a horror movie, during Halloween. I mean, but this
What'd you
is,
say now?
I said, this just looks like a horror movie out of Halloween or something like that. This
Hold
is
on, I gotta
crazy.
pause it. Say that again.
I said, this looks like something from Halloween, like from a horror movie.
Oh, right. Like I said, this is December 5th, and then they do St. Nicholas's feast day is September 6th, and we'll be going over, December 6th, and we'll be going over St. Nicholas as well. I had to turn it down a little bit because they got some hardcore European heavy metal going on in my ear.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is in the Alpine hills of Austria, and you see how many there is. And the reason why there will always be more devils than the angels, supposedly, is because devils can do either side and not be punished. They can do good, they can be neutral, or they can do evil. and not be punished for anything. Okay, this is the video. This is the music video that I really wanted you to see because yeah, this is an American cartoon. So just to let you know that they know what they're doing. They know their
Wow.
history. They're dragging this off right in front of you. And the guy Krampus right here is playing music and singing songs like he's James Brown, which correlates it to the black male. When they dropped their kids right there, they said 80% of kids end up being, degenerates anyways. So they got to get beat with a birch. They get beat with the birch, and pain is what's going to teach you. And pain is what makes you act good. And that is the gist of the song. That is also the gist of the parade. That is the gist of who and what Krampus stands, what he represents.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we can cut it now. But yeah, what he represents the deliverance of pain, which is going to put the children in fear to make them act right during the course of their life. Okay, and that is why you saw the grotesques of the masks, and this is what you see. I've seen this in many different tribal situations and ancient civilizations, to have the masks and to be as grotesque and to be as violent and as aggressive as possible in order to scare the invisible beings who supposedly look the same way. Because the invisible beings know what humans look like, and they know that you're not supposed to attain their level of power. So with you putting on a mask shows that you have attained their level of understanding, and it will scare them off. So it's sort of like a fire fights fire type of thing,
Well, let's get into that PowerPoint because this is absolutely fascinating. It's disturbing, but this is why I wanted you to come on because I wanted people to really understand what you are celebrating, and why you are celebrating it, but really the
right.
history behind it, and what's going on right now under our noses, like the Krampus parades. I had no idea.
Right.
I had no idea.
Right. Nobody had an idea of what the Krampus was. I definitely had to explore that realm during the course of me writing this literature. And because when you go into the root of the word Santa Claus, and then you go into the ritualistic practices of each region, this entity will show up, which this is what he was before he turned red. So if we look at Krampus, are we on the second slide?
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me go full screen for you. Can you go full screen on your PowerPoint? Because you're just in the user interface. Can you put that
Okay.
up on
Yeah,
full
yeah, yeah,
screen?
yeah, 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 yeah. I can put it up full screen.
That would help.
I can put it up full screen here. Let me see here. How do I do that?
Slideshow.
So, yeah, slideshow. Okay.
No, it
Okay.
didn't work.
It didn't work.
No, it's not full screen.
It's full screen on my side.
Oh, well, not on our side. But okay. This is what it has to be then. I guess you just have to scroll through.
Is it on the Krampus screen?
It's on with the devils and everything, yeah.
Okay, now is it on the folklore screen?
No, it hasn't moved.
Okay. So hold on.
Now it's on Krampus.
Okay.
With the
Yeah, I
text.
don't think it's gonna allow me to do full screen through the is it there now?
Nope.
Is it there now?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, I don't think it's gonna allow. I don't think it's gonna allow it. Okay,
Okay,
so
go back to the images that you were there before. Okay, so what are we looking at here, brother? And notice, family, all the devils are black.
right, and
Notice that.
and I'm gonna tell you again and again and again and again. There's two reasons for this. The number one reason is that by nature, understand this. by nature, you are going to create your evil entity to be opposite of you.
Mhm.
So when
Mhm.
you go down to Ethiopia and you go into the Catholicism of ancient Coptic in Ethiopia, guess what? The devils are white.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you're
Mhm.
automatically going to look at what is physically opposed of you as a devil. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
As you know, as humans may look at animals as devils, and animals may look at humans as devils. You see?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So that's one layer to it. The second layer is that we're the only race on the planet that can't feed ourselves. Okay. Now this goes into a whole nother line because every race on this planet kills their own, rapes their own, and steals from their own more than any other race does to them. So white people do that to white people more than black people do it to white people. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Asians kill and maim and all of that shit amongst Asians more so than they do to any other race. The
Right.
only thing that separates the line is, especially with African Americans, we can't feed ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay. Corporate wise, when it comes to, and we're talking about mass numbers, okay, large numbers, millions of people, we don't have an internalized, self sufficient structure of maintenance and control when it comes to our culture. And we haven't
Mhm.
developed a culture line that we protect yet. And that's
Mhm.
what defaults us into the quote unquote devil space.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, the long tongue is a phallic symbol, and that's correlated to animal activity as well, because animals, they all have tongues that can hang out their mouths. Humans don't. Okay. This is also correlated to the hooved feet, okay, that you see, which is uh, in remnants of ruminant animals is what I meant to say. Ruminant animals, you know, the mammals, they all have cloven hooves. Okay.
Mhm.
And with that cloven hoof is definitely a symbol of social freedom. There is no social law that stops animals from maiming. Okay. So, in the standpoint of taking on the animal caricature or the animal symbolism or mimicking how they look, is also in the advent of taking on the freedom that they have because they
Mhm.
have no God or no religion to ascribe to. They don't pay any taxes. They don't live in the socially controlled realm that we do, even though they do have social laws amongst themselves. Okay. A lion can get kicked out of a lion group, a monkey can get kicked out of a monkey group. So they do have a social
Social
operation.
order.
Right. They have
Mhm.
a social order. They operate in hierarchy and they do that, but they keep their laws grounded and has been like that for 3,000, 5,000 years. That's even their well, for millions of years. Sorry about that. Millions of years when it comes to the animals. And they've also maintained the same diet. Astounding.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, we're the only ones up here. Oh, I want to eat this. I want to eat that. No, an animal has a concrete diet that they operate by. So when it comes to the children, as I stated earlier, you want to impose fear upon your children. As in tribal times, they used to tell the kids ghost stories about the goddess over here or about the alligator man that'll come out the water and da 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 da. And that's all to create boundaries in their operation so they can stay in the side of goodness and not put themselves in any danger. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Put themselves in any danger or any pain. Okay. So let's get it going here. Are we on the next screen?
Yes.
Okay. Krampus. In folklore, Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure described as half goat, half demon, who during the Christmas season punishes children who have misbehaved, in contrast with St. Nicholas, who rewards the well behaved with gifts. Krampus is one of the companions of St. Nicholas in lands including Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovenia, and northern Italy. That's also Slovakia and also Germany. And you best believe he's up there in Russia, the Alpines, and other locations in Europe. Okay.
Mhm.
In traditional parades and in such events as Krampus Lauf A young men dressed as Krampus participate. Such events occur annually in most alpine towns. Krampus featured on holiday greeting cards are called Krampuskarten. That's where those pictures came from. Are from the
Mm.
Krampus greeting cards of Germany. Okay. Germany is the country that holds on to the caricature side of the
Mhm.
Krampus. And I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
you'll find it in other locations as well. You know, so Krampus, there seems to be little doubt as to his true identity, for in no other form is the full regalia of the horned god of the witches so well preserved. The birch, apart from its phallic significance, may have a connection with the initiation rites to of certain witch covens, rites which entailed binding and scourging and scourging as a form of mock death. The chains could have been introduced in a Christian attempt to bind the devil, but again, they could be a remnant of pagan initiation rites. Now, the birch was used for the beating. Okay. Now,
Mm.
right, for the beating of children, because that's also where the word book comes from. Birch is birch turned into book later. And the the birch, like I was stating, was collected for, and it was also used for the broom. Okay, it was collected for beating the children so the children could learn. And it's an upside down broom when Krampus holds it. So when Krampus is holding his birch stick, it is also the same stick that the witch flies on.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, they're made out of the same materials. The St. Nicholas Festival we are describing incorporates cultural elements widely distributed in Europe, in some cases going back to pre-Christian times, that's pagan times. Nicholas himself became popular in Germany around the 11th century. The feast dedicated to this patron of children is only one winter occasion in which children are the objects of special attention, others being Martin Mass, the Feast of the Holy Innocents, and New Year's Day. Masked devils acting boisterously and making nuances of themselves are known in Germany since at least the 16th century, while animal masked devils combining dreadful comic antics appeared in medieval church plays. A large literature, much of it by European folklorists, bears on these subjects. Austrians in the community we studied are quite aware of heathen elements being blended with Christian elements in the St. Nicholas customs and in other traditional winter ceremonies. They believe Krampus derives from a pagan supernatural who was assimilated to the Christian devil. Now, this is very important because, as I was stating with brother Dr. Shock here before the webinar came on, is that part of the reason why I wrote this 3-volume series is because I understand that Europeans are kicking our ass. They're kicking the whole world's ass. So it's not just you. Let's keep that clear. Okay, it's not just you. You go over there in Asia, you see them running around running shit. They got embassies in every country across the globe. Okay, they got National Geographic, documenting all the animals in the water, in the air, in the jungles, rainforests over there in South America. They're everywhere across the planet, right? So we have to understand how they got to this point and what was the mentality that has them unified to be successful in this area. And that mentality is called their culture. And their culture has been operating for thousands of years uninterrupted. This is also the same with the Chinese, and that's why the Chinese are right behind them, is because they have 5,000, 7,000 years of uninterrupted culture. This is also the same with India. Okay, same thing. So the thing here about why I brought that up is because what they mentioned about um combining dreadful comic antics that appeared in medieval church plays. They put this stuff inside the realm of art, okay? And through the realm of art, they were able to progress their characters. And through certain experiences that were that were exhibited inside the play while they occurred in theater, and that is with the exception of the audience, which adjusted a character to move throughout time and stay within the culture, and then also keep its original elements, but now its appearance is different. So in the 1300s, it could be Krampus, but today you see it as Santa Claus.
Fascinating.
You see how that works? Okay.
Nice. Nice.
This is the design and the mechanism, the maintaining of a spirit that is in a stereotype. You maintain a spirit in a stereotype in art. And you will,
Absolutely.
you see this? Do you see this? It takes hundreds of years to do this. Okay. Minimum, it takes 300 to 500 years to do this. Okay, because these names have to be attached to real life people. They may have to die in caricature format, be rebirthed through a real person's name. You know, how many people do we know named Christopher? How many Caucasians are there out there named Christopher or Nicholas or Nick? Okay, when you use the word Nick, which is Nick, that is in reference to the devil. That's not Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas and Saint Nick are two different individuals. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they've been able to divide that and maintain that line. You see that? And they
Mm-hmm.
did it all through art. Okay. This is the importance. This is the only way we're going to be able to found our culture as African Americans, by reaching back and maintaining the spirit of a Sojourner Truth, maintaining the spirit of a Jack Johnson through caricature. And we have to maintain that spirit in song. We have to
Mm-hmm.
maintain that spirit in cartoon. We have to envelope that spirit into video games and make sure that it stays alive. We have to put it on a cereal box. We have to have an artist named that. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's how they've been able to do this and maintain their culture. And we don't even know their culture, and we've been underneath it for hundreds of years already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go to the next slide here. The Krampus figures, as I was just stating, a figure, caricature, same thing. Character, same. Well, they're not all the same thing, but they're correlated underneath the same group. Okay. The Krampus figures persisted, and by the 17th century, Krampus had been incorporated into Christian winter celebrations by pairing Krampus with St. Nicholas. You see that? That's exactly what I was
Fascinating.
just stating. Okay. Countries of the former Habsburg Empire, that's the incestuous Spanish Empire. Okay. Countries of the former Habsburg Empire have largely borrowed the tradition of Krampus accompanying St. Nicholas on the 5th of December from Austria. Although Krampus appears in many variations, most share some common physical characteristics. He is hairy, usually brown or black, and has the cloven hooves and horns of a goat. His long pointed tongue loils out, and he has fangs. Okay. Now, it is true that he has the horns of a goat, but that's only horns of a specific goat. Okay. And I wasn't able to find the true reason on why, but the ibex goat is in Nubia. It is in there is a Nubian ibex goat, and there's also a Eurasian ibex goat, because Eurasia is the continent of Europe and Asia in combination. And these goats have humongous horns from what I've seen in comparison with others. I didn't really go into their behaviors and their mating practices, which is where you'll find the definitions of why they've incorporated those specific horns of that goat. Okay. So Krampus carries chains thought to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian church. He thrashes the chains for a dramatic effect. The chains are sometimes accompanied with bells of various sizes. Of more pagan origins are the rutin, bundles of birch branches that Krampus carries and with which he occasionally swats children. The rutin may have had significance in pre-Christian pagan initiation rites. The birch branches are placed with a whip in some representations. Sometimes Krampus appears with a sack or a basket strapped to his back. This is to cart off evil children for drowning, eating, or transport to hell. Some of the older versions make mention of naughty children being put in the bag and taken away. This part of the legend refers to the times that the Moors raided the European coast as far as Iceland to abduct the local people into slavery. This quality can be found in other companions of Saint Nicholas, such as Zwart Piet. And the show we're going to do on the 20th is about Zwart Piet, okay, which is also in the Kicked Out of Heaven. All of this material that I'm reading right now is excerpts directly taken out of the book. Okay. Okay. So let's get down. In Italy, in Gaul, in parts of Germany, in England, and in Spain, men deck themselves for licentious assemblies and obscene rites, which they performed at Christmas and early in the New Year's, shielding themselves under the kindly edges of the church's festivals. They clad themselves in hairy and horned skins, in hides with immense tails. They smutted their faces of bedaubed with filth, and bedaubed them with filth, and donned the most hideous masks imagination could conceive. These performances seem indeed almost universal, and they are denounced again and again. Lo, the day is close at hand, writes Severian. Yea, yea, the kalends are here, and the whole devilish procession will come forth. The very fountainhead and workshop of idols will go in full parade. The new year is haloed by old blasphemies. They appear as Saturn. They show us Jupiter. They display Hercules. They present Diana with her huntress train. They exhibit Vulcan, spouting the vilest obscenities, and many more beside, whose names I will not utter, for they are monstrous lewd. Of a variety, those beastlinesses which are unknown to nature, do they endeavor to fashion by their craft and purblind skill, abnormal epicene. Moreover, men are dressed like herd animals. They turn men into women. I say, they laugh at decency. They break all laws. They laugh at public opinion. They riot and roister, whilst the whole world looks on. And those who
Sounds
commit
familiar.
well, hold on. And those who commit these abominations declare tis but a jest. What is familiar?
No, what you just read right there, man, that sounds familiar. That's who they are.
It sounds like yesterday and tomorrow. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, man. That's
Okay,
just, hey, man,
okay.
it's just another Wednesday. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no jest, forsooth, but black sin and shame. Men are transformed into idols, and if it be a crime to resort to idols, what think ye is it to become an idol? For when they would assume the likeness of these heathen gods, if pigments and charcoal wherewith to caulk and smear their faces are found to be lacking, that they may make their appearance more quaint and horrid, they not only tire themselves in hides and rags and tatters, but deck themselves out with straw and bedaub their countenances all over with excrement or any other filthy ordure which they can light upon anywhere. Maximus of Turin.
Unfreaking believable.
Hey, bro. So before they were using blackface, it was shit face, is basically what was just said.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And Maximus, Maximus. Well, hey, that's funny because we still use that term, getting shit faced right now, right? Is a
Exactly.
liquor,
Well,
right?
we know where it came from. Okay.
You see, that's what I said. That's why you gotta understand the culture line. It is the culture line that takes over. It is the influence that rules, and that's what the China understands about war right now, and that's what you see with all the TikTok and all this other stuff, and they're trying to bring themselves influence. But guess what, China? I know you're probably listening. You don't got the sex appeal. You see, that's the whole thing that America conquered that the rest of the world don't got. We got sex appeal. Y'all ain't got no sex appeal. So work on that. Come back in 100 years. Come back in 100 years. Make sure your mammy's got some bosom on them. That's how we do it here in America. And maybe it'll work. But until then, you're gonna be on the slight. So here, let me read the rest of this. Maximus of Turin, who lived from 412 to 465, repeatedly reprobates similar ceremonies. Are not indeed, he cries, all those rites and ceremonies which the devil's own servants enact on those days frantic folly? What is it but frantic folly when men created by God and in the image of God transform themselves to herd animals or to wild beasts or to some monstrous shapes? These Gaks and Lassos say they are observing omens and judging of the length of their lives from some empty and idle signs. For how shall the events of the coming year be ascertained by the vague betokenings of beast or bird? Peter Chrysologus from 406 to 450, he was the doctor of the church, writes in the same strand. The man who puts on the guise of an idol has no wish to be in the image and likeness of God, who just with the devil cannot rejoice with Christ. Wherefore, let the father strive to convert his son, the master his servant, the kinsman his relation, the citizen his fellow citizen, each man his fellow man, and the Christian all who have masqueraded in the likeness of animals, who have metamorphed themselves as draught cattle, who have assumed the shape of herd animals, and who have turned themselves into devils. Okay. So, is
Wow,
there any?
this is the Dark Ages. This is medieval times. Is that right?
Yeah,
What's
I mean, well, these individuals lived from 412, 465, 406, so that's extreme Dark Ages right there. But
yeah.
yeah, all of this was, as they stated, Krampus was about the 12th century. So when they say 12 centuries, they're talking about 1100 to 1200. Okay.
Okay.
So right. So from the 1100 to 1200 is when it began. And during that time, pertaining to what I know about the medieval and the Dark Ages, it was in full revolve during that time, especially 1100s, 1200s. Yeah. There was, so I will like to say one thing that you're seeing here, as being a philosopher who studies philosophy and philosophers, there's never been a time period where humans weren't complaining on planet Earth about other human activity, right? So there's not one time period. I hear all the over there because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
There's not
absolutely,
one,
100%,
there's not one
100%.
there's not one
Well, I
time.
would be bitching and moaning too if I had shit on my face. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I
You
mean,
know, but what I also think is interesting, beloved, is that you what I and I'm hoping the community is able to see it and receive it, is look at the continuity of the frequency of how they kept this alive and how they gave birth to it and how they kept it alive and gave it character and gave it meaning, and it became intergenerational. And that is what is fascinating here. So that this is how they stay on code. But here's the thing, and you talked about this like from the first time that you've been on the platform, and that is we have grown up with this, and it was right in our noses, in our cartoons, in our comic books, in our TV shows, and we didn't even know it, in our
right.
movies, and it was
Mhm.
right there all along.
Right. So like even like the little cartoon that I showed you of the Krampus singing at the end of that show, I think it was like a Family Guy show or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Um that went right over your head. And the reason why that went over the head of all the people who were watching the cartoon is because they can't identify with Krampus. They don't know what a Krampus was. Ever
Right.
since me and you were kids, we've only seen Santa Claus. But what's
Right.
so interesting is that Europeans thoroughly understood that the Krampus entity will make other races look at us weird. So let's
Mm-hmm.
hide that side. Let's,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
let's depreciate that side and only hold on to Santa and the red-nosed reindeer. The red-nosed reindeer is a female, by the way. And that could also be a sign, like they said right here, Diana with her huntress train. Um, Diana is the goddess of witches, and she flies in the air with a ton of witches with her that follow her. So it's the blind leading the blind thing, but it's also correlated to society and the standpoint that whatever the queen is doing, all the females in society are going to want to identify with the queen. Just like today, you got the Swifties for Taylor Swift, or you have the Beehive for Beyonce. Women
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Women will always go extra hard for some form of third party.
Mm-hmm.
within the human existence, right? And that's also to depreciate the value of what her man may know. It's a defiance towards the household, and it's also a defiance towards her man for her to be in some type of allegiance with the third party. That's why religion was sort of designed for the man to be the leader in the religious space, which has a high level of mathematics, okay? And the woman was to be following her man because the man is following a third party, and she will submit to that rule because she's not submitting to the man's rule, she's submitting to the rule of the religion and the third party. Because
Mm-hmm.
right, this goes into the mother psyche of, due to the fact that she gives birth to males, she doesn't look up to males,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that whole thing could be. And yeah, so we're gonna go into the Christmas tree. That's a little bit here. We got to go into the Chernobog Belobog. Now Chernobog and
Okay.
Belobog is the roots of what you see with the black Krampus and the white Santa Claus, okay, or
Okay.
the white Saint Nicholas, right? Those are a modernized or a draft through time of the gods that are Chernobog and Belobog, which are found in Slovakia. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so let's go into this real quick. Chernobog is the black god and Belobog is the white god, are an alleged pair of Palavian deities. Chernobog appears in Helmholtz Chronicle as a god of misfortune, worshipped by the Wagri and Abodrites. While Belobog is not mentioned, he was reconstructed in opposition to Chernobog. Both gods also appear in later sources, but they are not considered reliable. Researchers do not agree on the status of Chernobog and Belobog. Many scholars recognize the authenticity of these theonyms and explain them, for example, as gods of good and evil. On the other hand, many scholars believe that they are pseudo deities, and Chernobog may have originally met bad fate and later associated with the Christian devil. Now, what's important here about Chernobog is that Chernobog is a main character in a lot of Walt Disney movies. So, right, because you don't know the entities that they're putting in those films. You do not know. Chernobog is inside the Fantasia movie. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was the big black devil entity that's inside the Fantasia, the original Fantasia, and the updated one. Okay, so there, and once again, like I said, putting the spirituality reference inside a stereotype or inside a cartoon and keeping it alive, making it alive through the movement in the cartoon. You see, so yeah, I said Slovakia. I meant to say the Slavics. Yeah, the same thing. The 12th century German monk and chronicler Helmut, who accompanied the Christianization missions to the LB Slavs, describes in his Chronicle of the Slavs the cult of Chernobog. Also, the Slavs have a strange delusion at their feast and carousals. They pass about a bowl over which they utter words. I should not say of concentration, but of execration in the name of two gods, of the good one as well as of the bad one, professing that all propitious fortune is arranged by the good god, adverse by the bad god. Hence, also in their language, they call the bad god diabol, like Diablo, okay, or Zernabach, that is the black god, okay. So this transferred in over time on the black god and the white god entity operating together and in synchronicity, one representing good, one representing bad. Okay. And that is just the balance of existence. Now, when it comes to the date of December 25th, we all know that this date has a lot to do with the movement of the cosmos and where our planet is at, and that the sun is the shortest around this time of the year, which is also another balanced picture because the less sun, the more death you have, and the more sun, the more life you have, and hence summertime. So these the ritualistic practice relating to the equinox is international. It is a thing that the human race has been doing. Egypt does it, you know, Maya did it, the Native American Indians did it, Asians did it. It is a worship towards the earth and towards the new harvest that is going to be coming through, and just the rebirth of life is in this standpoint, going into spring. Okay. And that's also a part of the whole reindeer thing, which was the crown that the winter god gave to the oak god. Okay, because
Hmm.
the oak god is of spring with the rebirth of flowers, and the animals are mating and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So basically what I'm telling you is that they're not wrong for doing what they're doing. They're doing things within this standpoint of how they see them. Okay. And obviously, because they've kicked the whole planet's ass, it must have worked. Okay. um Besides that, even if new civilization was to rebirth on this planet, um the holidays for the equinox are going to have to always be considered, because that is a part of human existence. Okay. So for you to write off a Christmas, or even to write off a Halloween, or to write off a spring, a Easter um celebration, is to write off your humanness and to write off your connection and your appreciation with the planet. It has nothing to do with pagan holidays. It has nothing to do with religion holidays. Okay. And if you can't see past that, your mind just doesn't have the superiority to see past that and accept the reality of our existence, you know? So I just had to put that in there, because a lot of people want to say, oh, I'm not celebrating Christmas. Christmas is to be celebrated regardless. It doesn't matter what you call it. You could call it Happy Sock Day. Okay. The you, you understand? There's rules to there's
Well, you're dealing
rules
with
to
cosmic. You're dealing with cosmic
right. There you go. Go ahead.
cycles. So the
Hmm.
cosmic cycles have to be honored and ritualized. That's just who we
Right.
are as a people, and that's just what we do. Now
Right.
we what we do have is we have a choice of how we want to do that. And so that's what that's the power of our choice. But we're not getting rid of the solar return and the cosmic rotations. We're not getting rid of any of that. That's
Right.
that's what gives us life. Okay,
Right.
so
Exactly.
so if we don't understand that community, then we're really hurting.
Right.
So I
And
appreciate that. So continue,
right.
please.
Right. The key thing that Brother Shock just said right here was gives us life. And that's what the Krampus beating the children is. Is making them bright. As it was birch, I think the word bright comes from birch as well. When you look at the words Robert or Wilbert or Dilbert, that Bert part on the name is bright, is what it means. Okay.
Hmm.
So, to be alive, and we have to invoke the whole element of life, and that's done on every equinox celebration. Okay. So let's go into the mistletoe. As regards the former of these practices, it is well known that in the religion of the Druids, the mistletoe was regarded with the utmost veneration, though the reverence which they paid to it seems to have been restricted to the plant when found growing on the oak, the favorite tree of their divinity, Teutons, which is also Teutonic, um, who appears to have been the same as the Phoenician god Baal, or the sun, worshipped under so many different names by the various pagan nations of antiquity. At the period of the winter solstice, a great festival was celebrated in his honor, as will be found more largely commented on under our notice of Christmas Day. When the sacred anniversary arrived, the ancient Britons, accompanied by their priests, the Druids, who sallied forth with great pomp and rejoicings to gather the mystic parasite, which, in addition to the religious reverence with which it was regarded, was believed to possess wondrous curative powers. When the oak was reached on which the mistletoe grew, two white bulls were bound to the tree, and the chief druid, clothed in white, the emblem of purity, ascended and with a golden knife cut the sacred plant, which was caught by another priest in the folds of his robe. The bulls and often also human victims were then sacrificed, and various festivities followed. The mistletoe thus gathered was divided into small portions and distributed among the people, who hung up the sprays over the entrances of to their dwellings as a propitiation and shelter to the sylvan deities during the season of frost and cold. These rites, in connection with the mistletoe, were retained throughout the Roman dominion in Britain, and also for a long period under the sovereignty of the Jutes, the Saxons, and the Angles, which Angles is where the word English in England comes from, is Angles. Okay. How the kissing part started underneath the mistletoe, I think that's in the book. This excerpt that you just read is also in the book, the third volume. So get it today. It's half off, $50 total, 61 with shipping and handling, and it gets to you and yours. Okay, so now we're here on St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas, one tells how during a terrible famine, a malicious butcher lured three little children into his house where he killed them, placing their remains in a barrel to cure, planning to sell them off as ham. Nicholas
What?
visiting the yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that was the ways of the old world, brother. I catch you slipping, you're slipping. I'll sell you off as some beef jerky here. Okay. So Nicholas, bro, bro, this was human
I don't mean to
existence.
laugh, family. There's nothing
No,
funny
I know.
about it.
Go ahead and
It's
laugh, bro.
nothing funny about it. But damn.
Bro, this
Okay.
was existence. This is what things were operating like this whole and it's been operating like this for thousands of years, bro. Like it doesn't matter what civilization you go to. A thief got their hand lopped off. You murdered somebody. You got your head cut off. It didn't matter. Like it was Egypt, Syria, Phoenicia. All of them were operating like that. This American stuff is built off of facsimile. It's built off of what's another word? Um, False. It's false. Everything is false, bro. This is a complete false existence we're living in compared to what was really going on. But anyways, let me start all over. So one tells how during a terrible famine, a malicious butcher lured three children into his house where he killed them, placing their remains in a barrel to cure, planning to sell them off as ham. Nicholas, visiting the region to care for the hungry, not only saw through the butcher's horrific crime, but also resurrected the three boys from the barrel by his prayers. Another version of this story, possibly formed around the 11th century, claims that the butcher's victims were instead three clerks who wished to stay the night. The man murdered them and was advised by his wife to dispose of them by turning them into meat pies. The saint saw through this and brought the men back to life. Okay. So that was one of the miracles that Saint Nicholas created as part of his hagiography. Okay, his hagiography tells you his life story and also the miracles that he conducted in order to be classified as a saint. So, according to another story, during a great famine that Myra experienced in 311 to 312, a ship was in the port at anchor, loaded with wheat for the emperor in Constantinople. Nicholas invited the sailors to unload a part of the wheat to help in the time of need. The sailors at first disliked the request because the wheat had to be weighed accurately and delivered to the emperor. Only when Nicholas promised them that they would not suffer any loss for the consideration, the sailors agreed. When they arrived later in the capital, they made a surprising find. The weight of the load had not changed, although the wheat removed in Myra was enough for 2 full years and could even be used for sowing. So basically, Saint Nicholas expanded the wheat like Jesus expanded the fish. Okay, so this is an original picture of Saint Nicholas, a painting. This is most likely Russian, but it is. But you can see that's Ethiopic Coptic that's written inside the book,
Wow.
and this picture is also inside the Kicked Out of Heaven third volume. Okay.
Incredible.
Right. So here goes some more stories of
He
Saint
was a
Nicholas.
brother.
Right. He was a brother. Let me see. He had the The good times. He got the good times kit with the. What was dude's name on Good Times?
What was it, James? What, James?
Yeah, James. Yeah, Father James. Okay, we call him Father James. Okay, so yeah. St. Nicholas, in his most famous exploit, aided a poor man who had three daughters, but could not afford a proper dowry for them. This meant that they would remain unmarried and probably, in absence of any other possible employment, would have to become prostitutes. Even if they did not, unmarried maidens in those days would have been assumed as being a prostitute. Hearing of the girls' plight, Nicholas decided to help them, but being too modest to help the family in public or to save them the humiliation of accepting charity, he went to the house under the cover of night and threw three purses, one for each daughter, filled with gold coins, through the window opening to the house. Okay. One version has him throwing one purse for 3 consecutive nights. Another has him throwing the purses over a period of 3 years, each time the night before one of the daughters comes of age. Invariably, the third time the father lies in wait, trying to discover the identity of their benefactor. In one version, the father confronts the saint, only to have Nicholas say it is not him he should thank, but God alone. In another version, Nicholas learns of the poor man's plan and drops the third bag down the chimney instead. A variant holds that the daughter had washed her stockings that evening and hung them over the embers to dry, and that the bag of gold fell into the stocking. So there you go. That's the transformation. You saw that, all right? So
Incredible.
basically, right. So basically, Saint Nicholas had the heart to make sure that the ladies weren't thrown down a road of whoredom by making sure they had money for a dowry, because during those time periods, the woman had to pay the husband in order to get married. Because the reality, as it is still the reality today, the woman bears the burden, okay, because she will give birth to the child, okay, and then that's also workload that you have to feed her and the household. So um that's what goes on. So the man has the burden, and the because the female is a burden, she has to pay the husband's family, and that's what dowry is originally based upon. Okay, and the chimney aspect also has a reverse when it comes to witchcraft. Okay, so as we all
Mm-hmm.
know, we also know that the witch who defies the house's work by using the broom for flying instead of sweeping, she will fly out of the chimney. Okay, and due to Saint Nicholas being of the holy side of things, he puts gold in the chimney. Okay, that will be for the innocent woman, and the innocent virgin, basically, is what they're stating here, because these girls weren't married, so they were innocent virgins. And that's who gets the gift, who gets the gander. Okay, so this story, these two stories that are embedded inside Saint Nicholas's hagiography, is where the actions that we see of Santa Claus comes from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Excellent.
okay, we got one more slide here. Okay, Nicholas had a reputation for secret gift giving, such as putting coins in the shoes of those who left them out for him, a practice celebrated on his feast day, the 6th of December. For those who still observe the Julian calendar, the celebration will currently take place 13 days later than it happens in the Gregorian calendar and revised Julian calendar. Saint Nicholas became the motto for Santa Claus, whose modern American name comes from the Dutch Sinterklaas, itself from a series of elisions and corruptions of the transliteration of Saint Nicholas. When the Dutch originally came to America and established the colony of New Amsterdam, they brought the legend and traditions of Sinterklaas with them. The New Amsterdam Dutch later shortened Sinterklaas to Santa Claus. In late medieval England, on St. Nicholas Day, parishes held Yuletide boy bishop celebrations. As part of this celebration, youths performed the functions of priests and bishops. and exercised rule over their elders. Today, St. Nicholas is still celebrated as a great gift giver in several Western European and Central European countries. According to one source, in medieval times, nuns used the night of the 6th of December to deposit baskets of food and clothes anonymously at the doorsteps of the needy. According to another source, on the 6th of December, every sailor or ex-sailor of the Low Countries, which at that time was virtually all of the male population, would descend to the harbor towns to participate in a church celebration for the patron saint. On the way back, they would stop at one of the various Nicholas fairs to buy some hard or to come buy goods, gifts for their loved ones, and invariably some little presents for their children. While the real gifts would only be presented at Christmas, the little presents for the children were given right away, courtesy of Saint Nicholas. This and his miracle of him resurrecting the three butchered children made Saint Nicholas a patron saint of children and later students as well. Okay. So there it is, ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen.
Wow. Insane. This is good stuff, brother. This is good stuff. So we're getting deep into the origin of this, and now in the next session, what's the lady's name that was eating the babies?
Grilla. Grilla of Iceland.
Grilla.
Yeah.
Grilla of Iceland. So we're going to get into Grilla of Iceland. What else are we expected
We're gonna
to
get
get
into
into?
Zwart Pete. We're gonna get into Zwart Pete. I might we're gonna talk about the origins of the Christmas tree too. And
Mm,
it's funny we did a lot of talk about the cosmics because that's also the Christmas tree is supposed to be a replication of the galaxy, by the big star in the middle, and then all around is the different planets that's hanging down on the tree that goes down. you know
gotcha.
so yeah, that's one of the things, and that goes back to Celtic Druid times as well. So but how they knew what the galaxy looked like, who knows?
Right.
It's crazy the levels of technology that we discover from the ancient worlds in comparison to what we got going on now. And it's just existence repeats itself, I guess.
All right,
So
my
hey,
family.
do
This
we
is
got
good
any
stuff.
questions? I don't see anybody in the chat here, or.
Well, we got a little bit over 70 people in the in the, on out there,
Okay.
and yep. Chemistry said, "Thank y'all. We need this. Absolutely, absolutely."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is what we do. You know, sometimes Keenan, once you just become aware of something, it takes away the sting of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's no longer a mystery because now you know how it operates. So you no longer have a fear of it because you know how it operates. It's like, oh, okay, that's and even though we might not like the reason, but there is a reason for everything that they do.
Yeah.
And to be able to go back in the research that you've done, and so PJ asked, what are we reading for the 20th? You just mentioned that, did you not?
Yeah, Zwart Pete. We're gonna go over Gorilla. We're gonna go over Zwart Pete. We're gonna go over some elements of the Christmas tree. There's also a thing I found out with the correlation of the Christmas tree and the red mushroom that we're talking about. But that isn't in
Mm,
the book. But I will present that information. But keep going as you were talking about. What you're talking about is the breaking of, that is the bottom line, root line of breaking the spell. And I've been doing that with this literature on
yes.
macro levels, international levels. And we've been, I guess, trying to rebuild ourselves from what we thought we knew and what we thought we were attached to constructing our own. Before you go on, I definitely want to say, look, black males we don't have a record of protecting anything. And when it comes to our culture in America, we do have enough here to construct our own. And we need to appreciate that line. We need to understand the sciences that it takes in order to develop that, and we need to develop that because
Hmm.
that is the space where we're not respected by anybody else on the planet. But go ahead.
Good stuff. Question was from Nadi. Is there a movie or a documentary on this book series that you've done?
There's 3 documentaries that go with there's 3 films that go with each book, but they're no longer available. I don't even know if I could get them from Amazon anymore. They've discontinued all of that.
Oh,
So
okay,
you can only get the books, but luckily there's over 1,000 pictures in the literature. So, it's a spot read, stuff will grab you.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, community. Well, this has been one for the books, and we're going to come back for part two. And blow your mind. But this is also part of breaking the spell. Once you know how the magic is done, it no longer has control over you. And that's what Keenan Booker is doing with this work. Kicked Out of Heaven, all 3 volumes, 50% off. Kickedoutofheaven.com. Um,
Mhm.
Closing thoughts and statements, my brother, before we close out.
Yeah, I do have the 3 films for each book. They're on my YouTube, The God 720. Like I stated, everything is half off right now, so you can buy the 3 volume series for
And the
fifty
God
dollars
720, is that God or GAD?
God, God,
God. Okay.
God 720 on YouTube. You can go to kickedoutofheaven.com right now. Everything is half off. I get them right out the door. They'll get to you definitely before Christmas. You need this as Christmas gifts. This material is probably the most
Oh,
potent,
this
the
would be
most.
the ultimate Christmas gift. I mean, really,
Oh,
honestly, when you
God.
think about it, dude, really,
Yeah.
like oh man, just having that
Yeah.
conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it will change the whole dynamic
Oh
of your Christmas in the
man,
house. We're
no
gonna have to sit and
question.
discuss right now. So if you got a little nephew who's been watching some Umar Johnson or whatever the fuck he's been watching over there, he been watching some Brother Polite with the bullshit. You bring
Oh
him,
no, not him.
you get the kicked out of heaven, doc. You get the kicked out of heaven because um and that's what's real important. It's funny I mentioned those names like that because one thing that me and Shaq got in common is we're not sitting out here trying to pound our chest in front of people.
Nope.
We say this is the guy, he understands. This is the guy over here, he is professed in this area. If you want to know this area, you go to him. You want to know this area, you go to him. And
Right.
that's what I did. This information that's inside the Kicked Out of Heaven is Europeans telling you about Europeans.
Mhm. Mhm.
That way it's irrefutable. I'm only
Mhm.
giving you my little psychoanalytical view in certain areas behind the 720 number. That's me talking. But besides that, all 3 volumes is all Europeans talking about Europeans.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
and
Good
it's
point.
very
Good point.
interesting because I've read many books by Europeans, but they think only Europeans are reading this, where the book was actually written
Mm.
with the mind frame that only white people are reading this. We know the native, and the native ain't interested.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, the native
Mhm.
ain't trying to figure us out. You call us all white before you call them German, Spaniard, and Italian, and this and that. You just call them all white and keep it simple. Okay, yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
we'll be all white then. Yeah, you don't know what's going on over here, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Because we ain't all white.
right, right. The Irish hate the Germans, and the Germans hate the Italians. But they got a crazy structure of operation. But when it comes to the world, they stand back to back and they kick ass, and that's the
Mhm.
point. And I want to kick some ass too. My
All right,
foot gets
family.
cold in the winter.
I
So
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
all
All
right,
right, community. We will see you next time on First Frequency of Wonder Shock Metaphysics. Take care, Brother Keenan. Take care, family. See you
all right
soon.
then.